Asmar thinks that I know that somebody hurt her, that somebody broke her back. But like I said, if I knew that for a fact, we wouldn't even be here. We wouldn't even be doing this. And it's hard to prove something when you don't have nobody that'll admit to something, or you don't have any way to make somebody say something. You can't get something from somebody they don't want to tell you. I was told by doctors that her back was broken once, and then it started to heal, and then it was broken again. The first time was intentional, and that what happened was the second time it broke, it punctured her liver, and her bowels and stuff was like backing up. She was 10 months old on the day she passed. I was there that night, and I called the ambulance, and they wouldn't let me ride with her, and I got to the hospital, and she was dead. I know somebody broke her back, but I just don't know who, for sure. I would never hurt my child like that. For somebody for what they say happened to her, there's no way. I don't have it in me. That's a baby. So I never had problems with CPS. Before that, my kids were clean, fed, taken care of. I might not have been the perfect mama because I was young, you know, and you don't know stuff when you're young. Bridget is Asmar's new wife. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know anything about me other than what she's been told. And it hurts for anybody to question something like that. Asmar wasn't there. He wasn't there when she died. I'm the one that had to buy her clothes and her funeral, plan all that. Nobody else did it but me. I had to figure out how to bury my baby. And there was so many people around her at the time that she died that I don't know what happened, who did what, you know? But all I do know is I didn't cause that to her. That's all I do know.
How did you find out about your daughter's death?
Well, Steve, I got into legal trouble back in 2002. When I was incarcerated, the chaplain brought me downstairs, asked me to announce my children, and I told him my children that I had, and at the end, he told me my daughter Ariana had died. Wouldn't tell me how, didn't give him a chance to tell me. I got up and walked out, emotionless, hurt, pain, confused, not knowing nothing. So I called your show, knowing 14 years of trying to fight and find out answers, 14 years of investigation of my own, asking CPS worker, talking to detective, went to the daycare, asking everybody that was around and in that area that knows anything, and I got one answer, none.
Were you able to go to a service or a funeral?
Well, actually, I was in the county jail before. I was already sentenced, waiting to get transported. And gratefully, yes, they allowed me to go, but unfortunately, they had me in shackles. They closed off the funeral home, but they allowed me to go. And just seeing my daughter there, I actually got to touch my child. And she didn't feel like a regular person. Most people that die, they're hard, they're stiff. My daughter was soft. I just wanted to hold her again, but I know I couldn't. And then they closed that coffin in front of me, and I knew she was gone. That was my last time I ever was going to see my child.
How long were you gone then before you come out and start investigating?
I did 3.5 years.
Okay.
But the day that I walked out of prison was the day my investigation started.
Right.
I went to every detective, every officer that was on the case. They kept passing me along. And I didn't know when she was born. I didn't know the time she went to the hospital.
Why is that?
Sherry just didn't contact me.
She didn't tell you.
She knew where I was at. She knew where I lived at.
So when was the first time you saw your daughter?
My daughter was born December 27th. I think I seen her maybe when she was 4 or 5 months. And
that long?
That long. And when I actually finally got to see her, it was great. I looked in the eyes of an angel. Right. She actually cracked a smile because she knew her daddy was holding her.
And then you meet her for the first time when she's 4 or 5 months old. She died when she was 10 months old.
The day she turned 10 months is the day my daughter died. During my investigation, I talked to a few detectives. He actually obtained the death certificate for me. And I just looked, I just felt it was suspicious. But then when I read it, It said her T11 vertebrae was fractured. And if you don't know, I've done research. Your T11 vertebrae is the vertebrae that prevents you from bending all the way forward. My investigation also said blunt force trauma.
So basically, somebody broke her back.
Somebody broke her back. And bilateral hemorrhaging. Bilateral hemorrhaging is blood building up in the chest walls of your lungs, not your liver. It has to do with blood filling up in your chest of your lungs.
So your belief is that somebody murdered
somebody? I mean, the death certificate states homicide. He was a former officer. Homicide is murder.
And nobody ever was arrested for this?
Nobody was ever arrested. Nobody was charged. Nothing was ever done. So tell me, can you answer what happened? 10 months. 10 months. There's no way a 10-month-old is just gonna die with nothing.
You think I don't know that?
Blunt force trauma.
Do you think?
T11 hemorrhaging.
Let me speak. You had your time. Can I talk to you since you want to talk to me so much?
I'll give you a chance because this is your time to give me answers.
Any other time I try to talk to you, you start hollering at me. You start yelling at me. You know what I've been through.
Because you keep dipping around the answer. I don't know.
You weren't there, Asmar.
You're right. You know why?
You weren't there.
Your choice.
I went through this. I buried her.
Your choice not to allow me there. Your choice. You knew where my mother lived at.
Not you.
You knew my number. You knew how to find me.
You're like this all the time.
Everybody knows how to find Asmar.
That's why we work together.
Everybody knows how to find Asmar. No, we weren't together for your family issues. That's why we weren't together.
No, Asmar, because you put your hands on me and I didn't want to deal with you no more. You grabbed my hands on you the last time you saw me.
I protected myself because you jumped.
Don't act
Nobody
like that.
is going to touch me. Ain't no front because you know why? I'm a defensive person. Rather as a man, woman. If I got to hold you from hitting me, so be it. I'm going to hold you because you're not going to hit my face. You're not going to harm my body. But guess what? That got nothing to do with why you're here.
What happened?
She started acting funny. I took her to the hospital. They said she had gastroenteritis, which is throwing up, diarrhea, and vomiting. She was not. They gave her an enema. So how you give a child an enema for something that she's supposed to have diarrhea? They gave her an enema, gave her a bottle, and sent her home. From the time she left the hospital, she was not right. She would not put pressure on one of her legs. I knew something wasn't right. I knew something wasn't right, but I didn't know what wasn't right. So I took her to the doctor. In the doctor's office, she actually started crawling in the office. And the doctor said it could be fluid around her joints. So from that point on, he said she should, continue to heal. I was working. I was single. I was doing it on my own, by myself pretty much. Nobody was helping me doing anything.
By choice. By choice.
How is that by choice, Asmar?
You knew where my mother lived.
You flip out on me all the time. I can't deal with that.
You're right. You know why? Because I can't stand the liar to my face.
You did it before this,
You're right. You know why? Because you still lie.
Before she
You was a liar then, you're a liar now.
Continue to tell your story.
So I did everything that I could. I'm not a doctor. I did everything I could for her. It hurts me. Like, this is so hard.
How did you, and I know it's going to be very painful for you to discuss this, how did you discover that your daughter was dead?
I had friends over that night. She was asleep. I went downstairs because I had friends over. She was asleep in her bed. I went downstairs to make her bottle because I thought she was waking up. I went back upstairs. I didn't usually turn the lights on or anything like that, so I tried to give her bottle, and she wouldn't take it. So I turned the lights on, and when I turned the lights on, she didn't have no color. And I knew something wasn't right. And when that happened, I took her downstairs. Some people were there, and they took her outside. I couldn't find my phone. I was upset. I couldn't find my phone. I finally found it, called 911. They was telling me how to do CPR on her. I did CPR on her. I thought I felt breath moving in her body, but I didn't. And he said it was not her liver that was punctured. Honestly, the detectives, all I know is her back was broken. That's the only thing that I pretty much heard.
Okay, so that's the question I have to ask you.
Me and you talked plenty of times about this, and I've said nothing more than Sherry. Just be open with me. I came to you as a mother. I came to you, you're right, as a complete stranger, but I came to you as a friend.
You don't know what this is like for
Sherry,
me.
you're right. I've never lost a child.
Now.
It's not about
hard.
I'm his wife. Sherry.
I respect
we
that.
have children
and I have
together,
never came
and
off
we love them all, no matter together or not. We love all of our children.
What do you think?
Like I said, after talking with Sherry, I don't feel like Sherry personally injured her or killed her. But I do feel like Sherry knows more than what she's willing to tell because of just being scared or fear of what people may think.
First of all, how's your relationship with your mother?
Good.
Yeah, she's good.
Yeah.
And how has she been over the years a mother to you?
My mama's always been there. I've always been able to talk to her. If you want to tell the truth, like, I didn't get whooped enough. I don't really understand why Bridget and Asmar are here.
Just as a father, being a father myself, I can understand Asmar's feeling because he lost a child, and your mother did too. But with Asmar, he wasn't there, he was incarcerated at the time. He wants answers. I mean, he's never got a true story of what happened to his daughter. And I think that's why he's here. And because he wants closure. He's the father of all the children, he wants to move on. And it's just as hard for your mother. Listen, your mother's here, she took a lie detector test. Do I believe that your mother hurt your sister? No, I don't believe that.
My thing is, my mother buried her child. My mom was there, he wasn't. So he had so much to say, but you weren't there, you weren't a good father. And for him to sit out there and say, yeah, she was a good mother to me, and then turn around and as soon as she get out there and say she's a bad mother, like, which one is it?
So we asked her, do you know for sure who caused any of those injuries to your 10-month-old daughter? She answered no. She told the truth. Did you cause any of those injuries to your 10-month-old daughter? She answered no. She told the truth. Are you concealing any information about how your daughter got those injuries? Sherry answered no. She told the truth. I would hope by some power that you are able to go home and that some police officer, some detective.
He was I'm
I'm
sorry.
saying moving forward, maybe a new detective, maybe somebody that would take an interest in this case.
Yeah.
They won't.
They won't.
I tried.
I know. I'm just saying, I gotta imagine somebody
Somebody
would
did
want
this
to
to my
reopen
daughter,
this
and they need
case.
to be held accountable. But it's
Because,
hard.
you know, a 10-month-old child,
I tried.
nobody's
Steve,
going to be
I
brought to
tried.
justice for that.
She
I
was
tried.
such,
I've got
Ariana
new
was a
eyes.
beautiful
I'm sure you
baby.
have.
She
And
never
I'm just
cried.
saying, at some point, I hope that some justice could be brought, and the person that did this, you know, gets.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's what I would hope. And I hope this
Thank
helps
you.
you go moving forward.
Yes,
And I hope
this
helps
right
you.
there, that gave me my answers. Thank you.
I called you, Steve, for help because I watch your show all the time.
Somebody's going to watch this and say, you know what, she was brave enough to do that, I can do that too. Can you relate to this story? Go to www.stevewilkos.com to get my help.